Let's talk about a very interesting situation. What happens when we get off the book? Okay, so off the book is scary. One of the reasons is because it almost feels like we don't know what this is going to lead to, and it's really just not nice, so to speak. So, what I'd like to do is to bring up a couple of really interesting examples of handling positions that are not quite as easy and simple. And how do you make this right? How do you really take this to the right level? So let's see what it is all about, actually. So basically, in this game, white started with c4, e6. And after the c4, e6, there was the move of e4, d5, edx to the d, edx to the d, pawn up to the d4. It's pretty good. So what we're seeing is that white's setting up the position. He's actually getting the chance to think about knight f3 or maybe knight of the e5. And so basically black played like this here, this, and actually white played with the bishop to the d3. After that move, then white plays the move of knight up here. What's great about is I love the variation of white setting up the position towards the center, because in some way that's what we're looking for. What white wanted to do was just set out his pieces towards the center, towards the middle, and actually prepare them to deliver more trouble. Now that's not an easy thing to do, but it was an important idea. So now you can think about moves like, so let's say queen to the short castles, bishop to the g5, then there's going to be queen to c7, c2, knight g3, and that's what we're looking for in this position. What did black do? Well, actually, what black played with was the move. It's very interesting. He played alongside d6 to the c. Now, we're totally off the book here. And whatever we were thinking about, it doesn't work. It was very different, obviously. So how do we play in such a position? Now, the first thing that you'd like to know, the very first thing that you'd like to think about is rule number 1. Expand, advance. Make sure that your pieces can take up on the most advanced squares that you want to put them on, and keep them there. It's really just that one principle. Now, are there more principles? Sure. But we don't care about most of the others. What we care about is set out the pieces, have them a little more advanced, and keep them there. All that you care, all that we want. So what did white play to do to achieve this, to follow that through? Well, he actually played with the move of bishop to the g5. It made a great sense. We are bringing out the bishop to the best possible position we can follow it. And we have the f6 under attack. We've got other things. And we're definitely going to be playing alongside with the move like knight to the g3, queen f3, or whatever. It's great as a plan. See, key is you can't follow up any theory in such a position. But what you could do is always concentrate on expanding, gaining more space, getting extra development, and the opportunity to build up your play. It is that much of a good thing. So let's see. As a result of this move, black played h6, bishop h4, and then bishop to the e7. But then white played with the move of rook e1, and so then after the rook to the e1, we're probably going to get ready for knight g3. You can think about queen to the c, queen to the d2, and or queen to d3, and rook to d1. So white's got excellent space and good pieces. So what did black play? We played knight d5, exchange, and a recapture. Bishop takes e7, and then knight f4. And that's a great way to go for. That move is perfect. Now bishop f5 and queen to the h5. It's great. Keep your pieces as close to the more advanced sides of the board as you possibly can. This is what you want. That type of move was wonderful. First, because we have this opportunity to keep black down. Secondly, because there's rook e1, and most importantly, rook e3 and rook e1. White is beautiful. you don't need to know the theory. I mean, I do love theory, but the theory could confuse you. You could be thinking about a lot of different ideas, and it could be dangerous or scary. You don't want that necessarily. What you want is just get a solid position with a lot of space and opportunities. And that's exactly it. Here, rook to the d1. It's a great move. d4 is supported. Maybe a d5 can happen at some point. But the good news at the moment is that black is backsided. When he's so backward, we're ready to go. Black played with the move of knight f5, d5 here, and then queen to the g4. All you really want to do is just that type of thing. Make sure that you get the chance to expand by making yourself open and keep your pieces up against the opponent. More advanced. That's all. More advanced is all you need. And if you can keep that, the rest is going to be easier. Much easier, I'd say. I'd like to show a couple other off-book type of variations, which will help you to see exactly what you're supposed to work for and what you're supposed to go after in those positions. It's actually not much easier than you might think. It's not that complicated at all. First thing, which is really good, is you can follow the normal approach. And here's one thing that your opponents might very well do. They'll just say, oh, hey, I can take the f3. So I'd love to do that. Why not? Take the f3, double up the pawns, and then get ready. It doesn't work. It's really just that simple. Because after the exchange and the recapture, white could very quickly move with d4. And then you could see why that's so good. After the exchange, takes here, essentially white can play with the move queen to the d2, d1, bishop f4. We see the move of bishop to the d6 as a strong possibility that could follow up with. And there is a lot more. There is really a lot more things that white is looking to deliver. The plan is great, position is perfect, and black feels quite down backside in terms of development. So what went on next, actually? Well, after that move, ultimately black picked up to do the move of bishop b4, rook c1, and then this move. It's okay. It's a pretty interesting move. Not a problem at all. So what did white do? I mean, seeing this type of move, of course, he's got to make something a3. Again, white does not care about anything special. We just want good set of pieces and the right tools to keep black down. That's all. Just get the pieces and keep black a little bit more backward, keep him a little bit more down. Black did bishop takes c3, rook takes to c3 here, knight takes d, and now you understand that in fact if your opponent throws you off with an incorrect opening, he is, really dooming himself almost to a hole with his structure. It's just a bad line, and the development that he's actually going for is awful. There is problems. There is issues with the c6. We have the move of queen a4 to follow up with, and it's great. It's just forget the rest. It's really just that thing. Develop and advance. No matter whether you know the opening or you don't, as long as you do it risk-free, you have nothing to worry about. You should be able to get your pieces right and to enjoy the power of each as much as you can, as much as you want. That's usually the rule. And it's a pretty good rule, at least in my opinion. Something you want to think about. Then what do we do if the opponent plays it incorrectly? That's sometimes when you know that he makes a mistake, there could be this urge, like, I gotta do something to punish him. And that's not a bad thing. You would like to do something to punish him, and I totally agree. And I almost suggest you to do something that can punish him. You just want to be a little careful at how you do it. Let's take a look at an example here. So, basically after the moves of c4, knight c3, knight f3, white played queen a4 check. Now this was not a perfect move. Even though it looks okay, it's not a perfect move. Yet, it fits well. It's a tempo move. So first rule, if your opponent does not play by the rules, so to speak, quote unquote, play the attacking moves. Queen e4 was a nice attacking possibility. Forces black to go here. Attacking moves are never going to be wrong, even if they do seem like it. Why? Because an attacking move is going to go with the tempo. So even if you are kind of wrong, well, you're not really going to be wrong. It's every move, because every move is going to come in with a tempo, with an extra idea to threaten him, shoot at your opponent's position, and keep him backward as good as you can. This is good. He has to play d takes to the c, then we have queen takes to the c. a6, e4, b5, and queen e2. Combining the idea of chance to create threats with the opportunity to expand by gaining more space is perfect. Now we're setting up for a move like e5, and then you could see for yourself that black has to resolve problems. He doesn't have this easy position where he could do anything. He now plays knight c6, e5. Remember that you have to do it in a subtle way so that you on your own do not get to go behind in development. This is very tricky. You could very easily fall back in development. Very easily make yourself get to a hole. So you have to think, how do I do it so that I do not get myself in trouble? And this is one of the ways on how you do it. This is one of the better ways on how you do it. Let's see. After that last move, essentially what black would have to do most likely is going to be the move of, he's got a couple moves actually, but knight b4 is probably something he would do. And that's okay, because after the move of knight to b4, we're likely going to do e takes f, check, king d1. He'd capture, but then after the capturing, we play b3. Bishop f5, bishop to b2. What I'm loving about this position is the fact that now we have the opportunity to plan for bishop to the b2. We're going to set out the bishop to attack him quickly, and we're also going to get the opponent's, not just the knight, but also the e7 and everything else perfectly, attacked. It's a good idea. It's really strong this way. What about black? Well, he could go for it, but he's already limited quite a bit. See, this whole strategy that he started with these old tactical sequences were fairly bad, because in the end of the day, there's nothing he can do. It's just bad stuff. So white really played it. Knight c2. And what do we do now? Well, a couple things that we can do, certainly. But the thing that white wanted most was to attack with g4. And that was a great move, if you ask me. Strong, consistent. Forcing the bishop to take so that now the king can capture c2, and then we have him hit on the e7. We have him targeted because of the bad king, and it is great. What about black? Can he do, and could he not do or have done anything differently? Perhaps he could have, but not here, not anymore. Truth is, he played e6. And now this is a good position to actually realize the terror of most of black's pieces. They don't have what I would call a good position. Each and every one of the black pieces is either backward, undeveloped, or passive. Well, here it is. When your opponent has all these big problems, all that backside development, all that terrible, all those terrible pieces, this is the time where you can think of a move like queen takes to the b5 and punish him, or chase him away. This was great. The idea itself was great. The plan is clearly superior. No matter what black tries, he's in trouble, and the king is just awfully attacked. Queen takes to the b. And now black resigns, seeing that after pawn takes, bishop d7, and knight e5, the g4 will be taken next move. What I love is that white didn't overdo it. He kind of let the opponent to make the mistake and sort of jump first. Because as he jumped first, he created the weakness that white was able to very effectively attack against and set out to exploit. It was very interesting and well played out, if you ask me. It's good to see. Good to see, that's for sure. So these are just a couple of ideas that I have about that. So now, overall, what I'd like to tell you about English opening is study the main typical plans and positions. Do not worry about reviewing a whole lot of theory. It's never about that. You just want to be clear of what the plan is all about, how do you make it, and more importantly, how you can concentrate your position and your possibilities on, improving, strengthening, and attacking. Little by little, that's how it works, and that's why it's so good. I love this game basically played by white. It was a great game, and also I love most of the other sequences that we sell. I hope that you can put those in your repertoire and try to utilize them, try to exploit them anytime you can, depending on how your opponent plays it out. Many of these schemes and sequences lead to a very specific order, and I do hope that this specific order and some of the knowledge that I was able to give you within those lectures help you to feel more confident and clear on where you should manage your plan. Thank you so much.